tell me now what it's like to be 80? What it's like to be 80 now? I got the look somehow, in my memories fading. What it's like to be 80 now? I used to read books once in a while, who made up my friends, cry in the shower. I hope you had fun, wasting all your time. So could you tell me now what it's like to be 80? What it's like to be 80 now? I got to learn somehow, in my memories fading. What it's like to be 80 now?
And Joe the Shirts off the cuff. Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Joe the Shirts off the cuff once again. Only the second time this week, unfortunately, but it's been a busy week for me, so got me some slack. The music you were just listening to was from the band Bankrupt and their song 18 Now. They're going to be supplying the music today thanks to the lovely people over at Spreaker.com. Welcome back, everybody. Here at Joe the Shirts off the cuff. We are, as always, happy that you're here. I say we, me, my entire staff here of my girlfriend and, my dog. And as you can see, Angelina Jolie is pissing off cancer patients. You wouldn't think so, right? But you know what? It is possible. Actually, before I keep going, let me check something here really quick. Let's see here. How's that? Is that sounding any better? Is that sounding any better over there? I feel I'm having a problem with my connection, and I'd yell at the tech guys, but I don't have tech guys. So, I feel like I'm a little weird sounding today. Just a little bit. Let me see if I can adjust that. Let's see. We'll see how it goes, okay? In any case, thanks for listening in. And as I was saying, Angelina Jolie is pissing people off. One person in particular. When I say cancer patient, I mean cancer patient. I didn't mean a whole slew of them. This is the way I can keep the story true. Actually, she's pissing off a friend of mine who does in fact have breast cancer, and she's pissing her off because, well, you probably heard a lot about the whole gene patenting thing that's been going on. Well, let me tell you a little bit about it, actually. I do have that story here with me today. All right, there it goes. I just need you, not you. Okay. The Supreme Court struck down the idea that you can own a patent on a gene, our DNA, the very thing that makes us us. Okay, and this is a big deal for lots and lots and lots of people because there were literally thousands of patents out there on genes, which I thought, even back then was a little bizarre because, genes are a natural occurring thing. You don't invent genes. You can invent artificial DNA, artificial genes. Yes, you can do that. You can take this and match it with that, and you got something new. But something that already exists in the human body is not an invention. You can't have it. But this one particular company, Myriad, had been holding on to a couple of very particular genes. What is it called? The BRAC genes, BRAC1, BRAC2. I believe that's what they're called. Let me check on that. But that was the big deal on that because BRCA1, BRCA2. What was going on was, Angelina Jolie went public with her whole, I got a double mastectomy and I might be taking out my ovaries, and the reason I know about it is because, I got tested through this wonderful test that comes from, Myriad genes and, the Myriad company, and I was able to detect that I was at 87% risk of getting breast cancer and a 50% risk of ovarian cancer. Angelina had I think her mother had died from breast cancer. Her grandmother died of ovarian cancer. So yeah, she was pretty much set to go. But the problem being with this gene and with this whole patent thing was that because Myriad had a patent on it, you couldn't conduct other tests on it. So they were actually putting a block on other researchers, other scientists, to keep them from testing this particular gene in their own way without using the test they came up with. And that kind of pissed off a lot of people in the science world, a lot of people who are at risk for these particular genes, these genes that, mind you, keep in mind, we all have these genes in us, but the test lets you know if you have a mutated version of that gene. Again, Myriad did not invent the mutation, so they did not have any rights to it as far as the Supreme Court saw it. And they decided on this unanimously, 9-0, okay? Let's see what it says here. The Supreme Court ruled that human genes are a product of nature and cannot be patented and held for profit, a decision that medical experts said will lead to more genetic testing for cancer and other diseases to lower costs for patients. See, that was the problem with my friend who, sweet woman, I love her dearly. She has breast cancer or had breast cancer. They have to go in there, dig it out. And Angelina Jolie is all over, the social media out there telling everybody, all women out there, go out there and get yourself tested for this. And of course, the only people that do the test legally at the time was Myriad. And that made me wonder, does Angelina Jolie, is she getting paid by Myriad to go out there and let everybody know? Because the test ain't cheap. We're talking about $3,300. My friend's doctors told her, you really should get this test done. And she was like, well, you really should give me $3,300, motherfucker. So it's not, because let's face facts. If you don't have breast cancer, you don't feel the need to get tested. But then they keep telling you that it's, it's so rampant, it's so crazy. Now, I'm very happy about this, obviously, because I don't think that some company should be able to own, what it is we are. And because of that, other research can't be done on what they deem their discovery. Now, let's face facts here. Myriad is not going begging anytime soon, though, okay? While maybe their patents are now bullshit. And by the way, a lot of patents, because people have been patenting genes for a long time. I mean, Myriad had already had the patent for 18 years. Okay, so now Myriad's patents and about thousands of other patents based on the human genome, science, laws of physics. Those are all going out the window before you know it. But because Myriad has been doing this for a good 18 years, testing about roughly 250,000 women a year, they've got all the info, they got all the research, and they are under no obligation to share that with anybody. Okay, great, fine, not a problem. And what they expect to happen now is that all sorts of testing, genetic testing of any sort, so you can find out whether or not there's something wrong with you. If you think that you are at risk, they expect will go down in price. Still, though, for right now, for your money, the best testing is still going to be coming through Myriad. I'm not going to lie to you, okay? Just because there are a bunch of cocksuckers that didn't want to share doesn't mean that that isn't the best test to go with. I mean, at least for right now, all right? So, don't just write Myriad off just yet. Just, keep them in mind. Got a lot today in regards to the science. It's a science today. A lot of stuff today. You may have heard recently about one Sarah Murnaghan, 10 years old, who needed lung transplant. Her her lungs had been ravaged by cystic fibrosis, which is a horrible, horrible, horrible disease. Something that, you wouldn't want to wish on your worst enemy. I mean, I would, but maybe not you. And, from what I wrote a paper on it when I was in high school, actually. And from what I remember of it, it's literally, it's like having a super flu in your lungs all the time. You are doing nothing but producing mucus. You cannot breathe. It's like you're constantly drowning. That's the best way I could describe it to anybody, because I've never felt it. I've never had cystic fibrosis, obviously, and I can't tell you what it's like to feel that way. But from every indication I've ever heard of, from the research that I did do and people I spoke with, it's just absolutely devastating, and it tends to affect younger patients because it does tend to be genetic. You are born with it. Now, she got the lung transplant, and everybody, they started an online petition to get her, get her, to the head of the lung list. Let's see, the doctor, Dr. John Roberts, he said that that more than 372,000 people, signed the petition on her behalf, and also that his email inbox had crashed because of the, roughly 48,000 emails that he received to people telling him, it's like, children should be at the top of the list. I don't want Sarah to die, and all this stuff. And I'm not even going to get into the whole, you don't really care about Sarah thing too much today, because let's face facts. Up until I read the story, I sure as shit didn't give a fuck about Sarah. For the most part, I really still don't. I really don't. I don't know her. She's not family. I've never met her. I don't care about her specifically. All right? It's not that I want her to die. It's just people die every day. So that's where I'm leaving that one. But now here's the big deal that's going on with her is, typically speaking, there is a list of how things work out, who gets what. Generally speaking, you don't do lung transplants on children less than 12 years old. It's a very, very risky operation for them. There's a good chance that the operation itself could kill them. And let's face facts, there are literally thousands of other people already, in need of lungs long before this kid was born. And the real debate is, should children be put at the head of the line when it comes to getting transplants, like any type of organ, like a lungs, kidneys, a heart, a pancreas, a liver. I mean, do children automatically should they be allowed to go to the head of the line every time? Do they always trump adults? A lot of people will tell you yes, but I think it's not as simple an argument as it sounds at first, okay? I mean, yeah, we all want little Sarah to live, and if that means that, Joe Blow from Idaho over there, who's like already 35, doesn't get to live, well, then fuck Joe Blow from Idaho, right? Yeah, that's what most people are thinking, but wait a minute now. What if Joe Blow from Idaho is a father of 3 kids? Does that mean that he should die and his kids get to go into foster care the rest of their lives? I know it's a what-if kind of argument I'm making here, but the what-ifs are what make life worth living, I think, isn't it? I mean, that's why you do things, because what if I do this, I might gain this. What if I do this, I might get, hit by a truck. So it's not that simple. I don't believe that. You know what? I'm going to save my personal opinion on this till after the break. I got more coming up, and I'm not letting this one go. But so after the break, we'll get more back into it. Here's more Bankrupt, and this is their song, All Day in the Car.
Fuck up anyway, we've been all day in the car.
You know why I love that song? Because that's actually the end of the song. I didn't have to interrupt it for once. Welcome back, everybody. Joe the Shirt's Off the Cuff. And we are talking about, who deserves to be at the head of the line when it comes to organ transplant. And I know the knee-jerk reaction for a lot of people is going to be, the children. Children go first. And I'm going to say no. I understand to you personally, maybe, your child's life is worth more than yours. Your child's life is worth more than your neighbor's. Your child's life is worth more than probably somebody else's child's life. Okay? But that's just you. All right? That's not equality. That's your opinion. That's how you view the world. And that's probably how I would view the world as well. I mean, if I'm being forced to, I can either save my girlfriend or save the random person next to me from a horrible, horrible fate. Well, bye-bye, stranger. That's the way human nature works. And I don't think that age makes your life more valuable than others. I really don't. I mean, I've told the story many times about being in line at the post office around Christmas time, and I had been there for like almost an hour already, just waiting to fucking send off these fucking packages already. I didn't care about Christmas anymore at that moment. I was losing my mind. You know how it is around Christmas. When this really old lady walks in and just cuts the line and goes to the next available window, and I tell her, you can't do that. Get in line. She's like, well, I just wanted to. No, there's a line. I've been waiting here. But I just want to, I don't care. Just get back, get in the line. But I just want to, look, I don't care what you want to do. I've been waiting here for almost an hour. The fact that you're closer to death does not make your time more valuable than mine. And I believe that. Just because you're old doesn't mean that your time is more valuable than mine. Just because you've had a short life doesn't mean that your time is more valuable than mine. I don't care. All right? I care about the people I know. I care about the people that I grew up with, the people that I live with, the people that I've befriended who have the bizarre, desire to befriend me on any level, especially after this fucking rant. But that's what I'm trying to say, though, is I don't necessarily think that just because someone is young or a child that they should necessarily be, cut to the head of the line when it comes to getting a transplant. And also, where do we make the cutoff point? A very good example here is, Sarah Murnaghan is 10 years old. She's a child. She is a minor. By that same way of thinking, my 17-year-old nephew is also a child, a minor. If my nephew had cystic fibrosis, would Sarah automatically cut ahead of him, even though he'd been waiting longer for a lung, even though he was born with cystic fibrosis and he'd been living with it for longer? He's 17 years old. He's had it for now 7 years longer than Sarah. But because Sarah is younger, my nephew can go fuck himself, basically. Is that what we're saying here? Now, up until 2005, the rule was that it was first come, first serve. You needed an organ, you signed up for one, and you waited. You waited, and that's just an absolute horrible place for you to be, because without a heart, without a kidney, without a liver, without any of these very, very, very vital organs, you are going to die. But by that same situation, in a way, you're basically hoping that somebody else dies. And I know that nobody wants to think of it that way, but that's really the way it is. Okay? You don't want to think of it. You don't want to say that, God, I hope, somebody dies so I can get a new liver, Larry Hagman. You don't say that out loud, But that's really what you're hoping for. You're really, that's it right there. That's the ugly truth of it. You are waiting for somebody to get into a car accident, a motorcycle accident, get murdered. You're waiting for something to happen to somebody else that's going to end their life so that you could benefit from it. Now you have to understand that when it comes to Sarah's case, lung transplants for children are incredibly rare. Of the 1,754 operations last year in the U.S., only 32 of those patients were younger than 18. Okay? Now, while waiting for transplants, 14 children died anyway. All right? As of last week, there are 70 minors that are waiting for lungs, along with 1,589 adults. Last year, 1,722 adults were given lung transplants, and an additional 210 died before they could receive an organ. All right. So obviously, the mortality rate is high in both cases without, a transplant. I'm going to take the unpopular approach that I don't think that children should be at the head of the line. I do believe that it should be first come, first served. Now they don't need that. They don't do that though. They use a very special algorithm that takes into account age, viability. For instance, just because the reason that this is such a big deal is because typically speaking, when a child needs a lung transplant, they try to get it from another child because that way there's a better chance that it'll fit. All right. In case you hadn't noticed, the average, 23-year-old has a much bigger set of lungs than your average 10-year-old, and a lot of times it just won't fit. All right. It may not be viable, and there could be there's a much bigger chance that somebody out there that's already an adult would benefit more from these lungs. With Sarah, they had to do a partial lung, operation, transplant there. Now, what happened with her also is that let me read you a quote here from the paper. Federal transplant officials took offense that a court interfered with a carefully calibrated organ allocation system. Okay, they're pissed off, because the court stepped in and said, you know what? Because I want to be popular. Or actually, let me read it to you here. Last week, a federal judge ignited a national debate by ordering that Sarah, as well as Javier Acosta, it's another kid there, an 11-year-old boy with cystic fibrosis who's also waiting for lungs at Children's Hospital Philadelphia, be allowed to compete on an equal basis with adults for lungs from adult donors. So out of nowhere, a federal judge can just, for personal reasons, now decide who gets a lung and who doesn't, who gets a heart, who doesn't, who gets a liver, who doesn't. Like I said, I'm going to take the unpopular approach and say that it really shouldn't matter, unless, of course, you're talking about a kid that's your kid and you're a friend of mine, or you're a relative of mine, or I've met you in some way or another, and then I would rather have your kid to get the lungs over whoever was actually in line first. But again, that's personal. That's human. That's selfish. All right. So don't make believe you don't think the same thing. I know you will. But I'm asking you not to. That's all I'm saying. Oh my God. I got one more story dealing with the human body today. Apparently, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but a big trend, especially in bigger cities like Los Angeles, being like one of the biggest one among them, in bulimia, anorexia, binging, and purging is going on. And it's got nothing to do with whether or not you have breast or ovaries or uterus or a pussy. No. Apparently, young men are joining the ranks of bulimics, anorexics, binge and purgers, people that take diet pills and powders, who starve themselves and exercise relentlessly to stay thin or to look as if they're in shape. We're talking to the point where, these guys are actually literally killing themselves. And what's one of the biggest problems is that it's thought of as a female issue. Really, I mean, you don't think about it too often. Honestly, there's one part of the article that I was reading where one kid, he was like 20 years old, he said that when he tried looking up, anorexia, bulimia online, and he got some article about how it'll make your menstrual period stop. And he's like, I couldn't find anything to do with being male and this particular issue. Now, I'm going to say, why don't you just stop being such a pussy? I'm sorry. Look, and like I said, this is particularly high in places like Los Angeles. Let's see, where else here? Let's see, the survey. Los Angeles. Oh, shit, I had it here and all that good stuff, and now I lost it. But parts of Texas, New York, and it's just... And the reasons why pretty much mirror the reasons why girls have traditionally done it. Bad body image. They're blaming what they see on TV, on the internet, on billboards, and they're claiming that they see images of people like Channing Tatum who are in Magic Mike, or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's so big and buff and muscular, and so they look at these images and think to themselves, God, I want to be like that. I want to be thinner. I want to be more muscular. I want to have the six-pack abs. And but at the same time, they don't want to act in public as if that's what they want. So what they'll typically do is they'll be hanging out with the guys, they'll be drinking their beer, having their cheeseburgers and fries and pizza. Hey, what's up, bro? Yeah, everything's cool. Is that you can eat all that? Fuck yeah, I'm hungry, bitch. And then, when no one's looking, and and they do it in secret, just like women do, but they put out this image that they don't care. Oh no, I'm just like this natural, just work out, drink a lot of water, and just take care of myself, take my vitamins, get a good night's sleep. Okay, I'm sorry. Look, I know it's a serious problem, and the reason I feel it's okay to make fun of these guys is because I made fun of women for the exact same thing too. I'm sorry, George Carlin did it. I can do it too. His joke was like, "I don't want to eat. It's a disease. I don't want to eat. Go fuck yourself." And that's the truth. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not buying into this whole cock and bull about, we see these images of Channing Tatum and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I'm like, we've been seeing images of men in great shape for as long as I can remember, okay? It's just the way it is. I mean, traditionally speaking, yes, men were not expected to look like supermodels. We're not expected to look like, we just came out of a magazine. But that doesn't mean that it didn't exist. And what these researchers are thinking is that it's been existing for a very, very long time, but only now men are starting to come out and say, hey, I got a problem here, and I don't know what to do about it. I'm saying, eat a fucking sandwich, bitch. I do find it hard to be sympathetic here because I am a man. And you know what? We all have body issues. We all have issues with what we look like, how we're perceived by others, I mean, I'm 42 years old, and I'm definitely not in the best shape of my life. I mean, there was a time, I weighed a good 35 pounds less than I do right now. I could bench press a lot more. I could run 10 miles, bike 100, played basketball every fucking day. Yeah, sure, it's called youth. But these guys are now doing this even in their youth. They are pushing themselves to look a certain way. And of course, sports makes this even worse, especially when it comes to sports that require weight classes. So you'll have guys that, they want to wrestle and say this weight class, but they're about 2 or 3 pounds too heavy. So right before the match, or days before the match, it's all, and then they get down in weight, and then they wrestle, they win or they lose, and then they eat again, and then comes up the next match and more. And women have been doing this for a long, long, long time, and now we're finding out that men are doing it. But what's really disturbing to me is that young men are doing it, because men, unlike women, are less likely to report what's going on, to admit to what's going on. Out of all the cases of emergency rooms where somebody's brought in because they are starving themselves, anorexia, bulimia, whatever is coming up, only 12% of those cases have been male, which means that a lot of the guys that are out there doing this are keeping it even more secret than women are. And what scientists, doctors are finding is that that actually leads to them getting in even worse shape than women. They end up getting much more severe cases of anorexia, bulimia, and just physical damage to their body. Their body just shut down after a while. So that part's not funny. But I am going to tell them to man up and stop being a little bitch and eat a sandwich. Fuck you guys. Gonna take our last break right now. Hey, this is Joe the Shirt's Off the Cuff, and I am on the Inappropriate Conversation channel on Facebook here, and so you can't blame me for that. This is what we talk about. We're gonna take a break here. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff, and I'll be right back.
Look at them. They're just asking for it. Maybe the human race deserves to be wiped out.
Burning out of the cage. Welcome to a new conservative age with the cops in charge and the boys brigade. Where the hell are we going? Very few things and you're unlikely to win. You win the art of riot. Let the machine all the water be served to as meals. Where the hell are we going? Baby, I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm sure you got a bird through. It's not the first time I met you. Are we ever gonna get through? You listen to creep and they're starting to breathe. Now you can face what was underneath just before they kick you in the deep. Where the hell are we going? Baby, I didn't mean to hurt you. I should have got a bird through. It's not the first time that I met you.
And we are back. Welcome back once again. Joe the Shirt's Off the Cuff. After the show today, I'm going to make sure to take a listen to this today because it's still sounding a little off to me, and I don't like it when that happens. It pisses me off. So, if it does sound off, guys, do me a favor. Write me, okay? Just send a text, an email, Twitter, anything. Just let me know. Hey, something about the show didn't sound quite right. Because now I'm feeling like it doesn't sound quite right. And for all I know, I'm talking into dead air right now. And if that's what's happening, I'm going to be really, really pissed off. Mostly at you. In any case, moving away from the heavier topics today. As you all know, everybody's talking about U.S. government spying on our internet and tapping our phones, and the guy that blew the case wide open and told everybody that they were doing it. Literally hundreds of millions of phone calls a day and hundreds of millions of taps. Thousands of people all the time. Yeah. And everybody's all pissed off. We're pissed off because the government's spying on us. Duh, really? What do you think? And the government's all pissed off because somebody told on them. That pisses them off when people tell on them. And, of course, they're denying that they do it, and then they admit that they do it, but, they don't do it in the way that you think that they're doing it. But, it's kind of like, what you should do is, ask Jimmy what Janet said, and then ask Janet what Joey said, and you know what? Shut the fuck up. But you know who's happy about this? Countries like China. China could not be happier right now, which is why they're going to give this guy Ed Snowden, the guy that blew open the whole thing on all this. They're giving him asylum right now. He's in Hong Kong. They're not going to give him up ever, okay? Because similar to this, China has probably either suspected or outright knew that the U.S. government was spying on us constantly. But they never wanted to say anything because, they do it too, but they do it obviously. We all know China spies on its own citizens. Everybody's known that. But, they couldn't say anything because then it would just sound like sour grapes from them. It's like, well, you guys do it too. No, we don't. Yeah, you do. Prove it. Edward Snowden, bitches. China could not be happier. Nobody is happier than China or possibly North Korea. Nobody could be happier. A little more technology here for you guys. You may have heard about the new military airplane known as the F-35. F-35 is going to be the next big thing in U.S. military. We're talking about they'll be for the Air Force, the Marines, and the Navy. These suckers are just crazy wild. I got some stats here. Anywhere between all versions. There's going to be 3 different versions of the plane, but all versions will be capable of anywhere between 520 and 690 mile combat radius, capable of 1.6 Mach maximum speed. That's with weapons. Okay, they're loaded. A 1,035 to 1,380 mile range, unrefueled. Stealth coatings, similar weapons, same basic engines. These are going to be absolute total motherfuckers of planes, okay? Now, the problem, the thing you may not be aware of is what these things cost. At an average of about 300 or so million each. That's right, each. Okay, 300 million each. All right, and everybody always talks about what a tragedy is. Every time one of these planes, it gets into an accident or gets shot down and gets destroyed, and oh god, we lost a pilot, we lost 2 pilots, and all that. And somewhere their accountant's going $300 million each. But then the next big thing coming out sometime, I believe, in 2015. Now, going back to technology one more time for the day, then we're going to be getting out of here, is, of course, the new game consoles that are coming out. Now, the new Wii, the Wii U, I believe it's called, has already been out for about 6 months, and not doing as briskly as they were originally hoping for. They were originally hoping for it to sell about 5.5 million of them this year. Turns out they've sold 3.5 million. So they're not doing all that well. But what's really big in the news, of course, is the announcements from both Microsoft and their Xbox One and PlayStation and their Sony and their PlayStation 4, which will probably be out sometime before this Christmas. With Microsoft Xbox One selling for roughly $500, and the PS4, the estimate right now is $400, so $100 less. And I keep feeling like I talked about this recently, but I want to talk about it a little more. And what I want to talk about is some of the problems that the gamers are having. For the longest time, people have been saying that because of home computers, tablets, and smartphones, that the video game console is going to die. It's going to go the way of the dodo. And as a matter of fact, more video games than not are played on a home computer. Okay, that's the way people play video games. More people than anything else play it on their computer. Hell, I played on my computer today. And I've played on my tablet. I played on my phone. I did all that. But these consoles, the core consoles, I think are always going to be around because real hardcore gamers playing on a computer is not enough. Playing on your tablet, it's not enough. Playing on your phone, it's not enough. When I decide that I want to play, one of the games I'm playing right now, actually, I'm behind. I'm just letting you know I'm behind. But one of the games I'm playing right now is Arkham City. I'm hoping that I can finish it before Arkham Origins comes out this October, because Lord knows I'm going to get that. But when I said I want to play Arkham City, man, I am sitting on the most comfy chair I have in the office with a TV dedicated solely for me to play video games, with my PS3, with my 3D glasses, with my noise-canceling headphones, wireless, with my wireless controller. My girlfriend could drop a bomb next to me and I would not notice, okay? My girlfriend could be blowing the neighbor right next to me and I won't notice, because I am playing my fucking game the way video games are meant to be played. Not fucking Angry Birds, okay? Not poker, not Farmville, or any of these weird little puzzle games that I know my girlfriend likes to play. No. I am Batman, and I'm kicking the living shit out of Bane, okay? I am Batman, and I'm looking to kick the Joker's ass. That is what the hardcore gamers do, man. I'm not a hardcore gamer. See, I'm not a hardcore gamer. But when I really want to play my video game, that's the way I do it. Complete immersion, okay? Now, the biggest problem that Xbox is having is the fact that they're incorporating a bunch of systems into their new console, which is a little big brothery, a little Hal watching you. Among them, one of the biggest deals is that it needs to be connected to the internet at least once every 24 hours. Now, their hope is that you're going to keep the console connected to the internet all the time and not just turn it on and off whenever you feel like. They want you to keep it on because they want you to be able to give them information. Because what happens, the new Xbox One, it's keeping track of what you watch, when you watch it, how often. It'll keep track of which one of you is watching it, who's playing the games, which games they're playing, and then they send advertisement geared towards that person, whoever happens to be there, which is a little scary. Another thing that is pissing people off is the fact that it's not going to be backwards compatible. The games are for downloading. The games are going to be, you need the internet to play any of their games. And then to add to that is Microsoft is giving their game developers, their second-party game developers, the option of making their games single owner only. So you play your game and then you're like, okay, well, I want to sell this game now. I want to swap it out to somebody else. Even if it's a disc game, which I do believe they're still going to be using discs. I misspoke. They're going to be using disc as well as downloads. But once you put the game in and you register it, that's your game. You can't sell it to somebody else because they won't have a code for it. And you can't give them your code. That's your code according to Microsoft. Whereas with PlayStation 4, they also will not be backwards compatible. If you've got PS3 games that you love to play, don't get rid of your PS3 when you pick up the PS4, okay? Because the PS4 is not going to be backwards compatible. But it will also be able to download games off the internet. You can do that, but you will be able to download old games onto your PS4 that played on PS3, and I think PS2 1 and 2 as well. And if you do have the physical copy of the game, you can sell it. You can loan it to a friend. Okay, it's not yours forever. All right. So for my money, I'm sticking with Sony, sticking with the PS systems here. Probably not going to run out and get the PS4, though, immediately. Have not done playing my PS3 yet, okay? But, when the time comes and I feel like getting the PS4, or I can afford a PS4, that's what I'll be doing. Xbox never attracted me in any way. I never cared for how they did things. I mean, especially because at the time that they came out, I was never that much into being on the internet. Hell, I'm not that much into it now, other than to, talk to you guys. Anyway, that's my time. Thank you for listening. And here's one more song by Bankrupt, Cinderella. I'm Joe the Shirt, and I'm off the cuff.